Alright, so for a change of pace, I'm going to go into a two-man queue with the Kendall's control deck I've got. This is the mostly black control deck. This has a sparse number of creatures, but they're mostly vampires that have synergy with each other, so it can be pretty interesting. Two lands and Sign in Blood, this is very weak against the super aggressive decks unless I happen to draw a couple of lands, but it's still a bit dicey. I think having the Sign in Blood is tempting, but I've been seeing a lot of aggro, so I think I'm going to hope for something better. Unfortunately, this is not it. It's not too good, but most of the cards are cheap, so maybe I'll draw a land in time. I really wish I had kept the 7, especially upon seeing something that's not necessarily aggressive. So I think that may have been dicey, but it's hard to say it's wrong. Okay, so this may be flash. Oh, this is good. I don't think I need to use that on use removal on any creatures quite yet. This deck, my opponent's deck, likely has Boros Reckoner in it, just given the colors I've seen. This could be some variant of the Lucky Charms deck. Definitely a lot of options, but most of them seem to have Reckoner in it. Thankfully, we have a ton of removal right now against Boros Reckoner. Unfortunately, we don't have anything against like Sphinx's Revelation, which is entirely possible. So we need to draw some more lands. Okay, so we'll let our opponent get. That's not at all what I meant to have happen. Let's go ahead and Devour Flesh now. I really would have preferred to do it when my opponent was tapped out. For this reason. Oh no, that's fine. You cannot flicker your own angel. Oh, okay, just wanted to get a new one in order to be able to attack with the old one. That makes sense. It's still not terrifying or anything, but at least we've got removal for days. Really need to start getting some lands going on. Sphinx's Revelation for 2, that's not the worst. That's not great for me, of course. Alright. Let's go ahead and get a Nighthawk going. It's not ideal. Our opponent seems to have a slower control of your deck, which Nighthawk is not as good against. This is actually the slower control of your decks are the matchup where I like having the Spectre. Nightveil Spectre is very good against decks that are slow and can't just deal with it as much. Okay, so unfortunately, that's a problem. Okay, so this is our opponent's win condition. We have a ton of things that are good against some of the legions, so this is not the worst. Our opponent could have Wrath. I would not mind using it then. What I'm considering here is whether or not it's worth using Nighthawk right now. I don't think it's worth paying the. Sorry, not Nighthawk, Nocturnus. I don't think it's worth paying the life in order to get the creature. So let's gain some life. See what our opponent's got. I know Marshall Sutcliffe was talking about this deck at an earlier time. He said he played something that sounded like this in some tournament. Didn't do great with it, but I saw him stream with it, and it was definitely an interesting deck. Again, trying to avoid playing into Wrath if I can help it, but I will probably play my Spectre this turn. Not a lot of options there. Maybe I should have played the Bloodline Spectre, or Bloodline Keeper rather, because it prevents more threat. But again, it probably would have just been removed. So. This deck is all instants. It's very draw go control until it's got some of the leaking. So I'll probably also put in Curse of Echoes out of the sideboard, which has been amazing for me, and it would be very good against the Sphinx's Revelation. Additionally, Dispel out of the sideboard can be good. Can I possibly win this? Yeah, I could possibly with a Vampire Planet. It's unlikely given that our opponent just drew 7 cards, or drew up to 7 cards. But I'll hold out a bit longer. I'm willing to show some of my deck in order to hold out hope and have a chance. If our opponent happens to have a pillar, I will be punished for blocking, but it's unlikely. Okay, Pillar of Flame. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm thinking it's no longer possible for us to win this. Brasco would get close, but I will GG. It's not enough. But sideboarding looks interesting. Golgari Charm is good. It destroys enchantments, and it gets rid of 1/1, so it works for either. Dispels Curse of Echoes. Curse of Death's Hold is very good here. Sever is good against angels and tokens, but it's not the best. Illness in the Ranks is good. Mutilate is not the worst. Let's see what we got though. Tameo is not specific enough, and it's a bit slow to be doing nothing. Liliana kills angels okay, but doesn't fill as much role. I use her for repeatable removal, and she's not the best for that. Demure Charm counters sorceries, which our opponent doesn't have a ton of. Devour Flesh is okay against angels. So is Victim of the Night. Probably don't need as much removal as I had, though. Although it's very likely that our opponent does have Reckoners, so I'm not sure about that. Okay, I think Sever the Bloodline is better than Mutilate. I can bring in others if I decide to. Abrupt Decay is actually really bad here. That's good. Okay, making progress. Is this too much token hate? There's not too many of them, and some of it, like the Golgari Charms, can point in different directions, so I don't think so. 2 more cuts. Brask is good against Assemble the Legions. It's one of the few things I've got that can kill it. Could drop a Nocturnus or 2. Is there anything else that I can drop for another Sever? I guess the downside of Sever is if I'm trying to use it on a Reckoner or something, our opponent could use Angel to save it, but I'm not sure it's worth putting in Mutilate over it for that. Let's go ahead and try this. We'll play first. This is not great. However, Sign in Blood makes it a lot more keepable. I feel like this is a worse hand than the hand that I passed up the first time, but I'm not sure. And again, I'm not sure I should have kept it in the first place, so that's not necessarily a sign. Alright, we've got our colors online. Not Vraska, no, you have to wait. Okay, so we've got some removal, we've got a creature. I feel much safer now. Drawing a dispel might be nice, although we've got a bit of time before we have to worry about Sphinx's Revelation. Let's go ahead and get Nighthawk down. This deck likely has Snapcasters, which makes Drown Yarding less appealing, but it is still an option. What do we got? Rewind is a pain, but we're not there yet. I'll leave this up here. I'll go ahead and attack first. I guess I could have probably just played my lane at F6. Is it worth drowning? I'm a bit scared of Snapcasters, and I doubt our opponent will be able to go as off the walls with Sphinx's Revelations. So I'm going to probably not drown Yard yet, so I'll put on the Overgrown Tin. Alright. Do we have a creature? Maybe a Reckoner? Maybe an Angel? No. Lane came into play taps. Our opponent almost certainly does not have an Angel. Let's go ahead and get Vraska down. Our opponent may draw into a Oblivion Ring, but it's nice to try and get some stuff rolling. Okay, Counterspell. I thought that might happen. I'm okay with that. Again, I need to be doing something. So maybe I should have played around it just because my hand doesn't have that much gas. If my opponent plays a Symbol of the Legion, it might be difficult. No, may as well let's get it out there. I'm going to go for it, I think. Even if our opponent does have Snapcaster Mages, it's not the worst. I mean, there's already some good stuff to Snapcast, so. Again, I just really need to draw some gas. Alright, think twice. Think twice is another option. I'd like to save Illness in the ranks for when it's less likely to be countered. Also for when it will be a surprise. I certainly don't need it yet. Okay. Knowing that this deck has Think Twices, which I should have thought of, means I'm a little bit less likely to really put the pedal to the metal against it as far as milling. Yeah, I think I should wait on it. Knowing that our opponent has Rewind up is obnoxious. Targeting Sphinx's Revelation. Targeting Searing Spear. Right. I will. I'll go ahead and Victim and Knight. No. Yes, sorry. Being indecisive. Was a little bit scared of guesses in craft, but trying to figure in which is more likely to be useful. But the fact that I've got another Victim and Knight back means that I'll go ahead and throw that out there. Alright, negate. Okay, so our opponent has rewind up. I personally might have rewound just to keep the surprise. And maybe I should have killed it again there. I'm hoping our opponent does not have a Sphinx's Revelation to use with all that mana that I just saved him. Nighthawk could potentially gain me some life if it lands and stays on the board. Alright, here's the Sphinx's Revelation for 4. That's obnoxious. I normally say that this deck is good against everything but Sphinx's Revelation and Planeswalkers and Enchantments. In addition to the fact that, yeah, here we're seeing the combinations. It's very likely that our opponent drew into our counterspell. I'm going to hold on to this. Hopefully I can draw a Dispel in the next turn or two, which would be worth it. Oblivion Ring on Illness in the ranks would also be good. Alright, so we'll attack first, then we'll Bloodline Keeper. If that does not get countered, we'll try Illness in the ranks. Actually, if it does get countered, I might try Illness in the ranks, because it's more likely that our opponent does not have a counter. Do you have absolutely everything? It looks like you do, yes. Okay. Well, we have other options. We've got Curse of Death's Hold, which would be amazing here. We also have at least one more copy of Illness in the ranks. Revelations for 7. Maybe I really should have been John Young all along. We've seen that rewind, so I'm going to go ahead and hide that. So our opponent almost certainly has a million counterspells. This is not enough. I wish our opponent could game, and I could see the match. Alright, so this is not ideal, but just didn't seem to get what we needed. Unfortunate, but so goes.